you and I have been really journeying inside the prodigal son. And at some point in time, we'd have to brush up against that, right? Because that's all there
Yes.
is in the current environment. And it's just exactly the same way in 2 points. Number one, we always think that the prodigal son was prodigal because of his prodigal behavior in the faraway country. But you and I both know from the parable that he was actually a prodigal son because he had marred his relationship. He had broken his relationship with his father by rejecting him, selling his goods and leaving, right? The actions he took out there didn't make him prodigal. They were the expression of his prodigalness. So his issue wasn't behavior. His issue was a relationship that was no longer in commune with his father, right?
Right.
In the same token, when he comes back and the father runs down to get him, this is the same thing we're talking about here. He's coming back mumbling, I'm going to keep all these commandments, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to earn my way back to be your son. And again, Jesus is like, no. Here's the road. Here's the ring. I have made a way where I have made peace between you and I. I am the reconciliation. I have reconciled you to myself. And when you're with me, you're in the house. And here's the robe, and here's the ring, and you are my son, and we'll kill a fatted calf, right? And so I think we see, I don't think I'm stretching here when I see the same strains in this conversation with the prodigal son. He's bringing his commandment keeping. He's bringing his effort. He's bringing his, look, I've done this. And Jesus is going, no. That's not your problem. Your problem is that your relationship with me has been broken. And I am the reconciliation to put you, you are now my son. And in that, like you said earlier, from that emanates all of the keeping of the law that you could imagine, because those who are sons behave like sons, right?
Here we are in the prodigal son again. And I just want to clarify for our viewing audience out there is that, we're using the term prodigal not in its original intent, original meaning of being wasteful, but in the more, I think this meaning comes from the story that he's basically run away, right? He has separated himself from the father, from his family, and looking at it not because looking at it from these new lenses that we have, that he's a prodigal not because he ran away and he wasted his money and he's feeding the pigs. He was a prodigal, or he was disconnected once he had that thing with his dad, like, hey dad, I wish you were dead, give me my money, right? That was the point of disconnection.
That's right.
And then we can extend that to the older brother who, during this whole time while he's at home, he's disconnected from the father, right? He didn't run away, but he was serving as a slave. He was not living as a son, is because there was that disconnect from the father, and he really didn't understand who his dad was. And so this rich young ruler,
same thing, right?
Yes, he looks more like the older son because he's obedient, right? He didn't run away. He didn't feed pigs. He's obedient, but he doesn't have that relationship, that connection. And Jesus is getting him to that point, getting him to think about this, because Jesus, again, he's not going to say, hey, you just need to do this, and everything's going to be good. He wants us to engage with him and to really have a connection with him. And he gets the rich young ruler to think this thing through first about who am I that you're talking to? Am I just a good teacher? Oh my God. And then he says, well, keep the commandments. And then basically he says, how's that working for you? And the rich young ruler says, it's not working. What do I still lack? And then Jesus just goes for the jugular. Here's what you lack. You're holding on to your stuff. You think your stuff is where it's at. You think that all this doing is where it's at. Give that away. Trust me. You attach to me like you're a branch and I'm the vine. You attach to me. You abide in me, and it's going to be all good.
The language is very similar. By the way, if you read verse 21, he goes, if you want to be perfect, go sell what you have and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Come follow me. The father and the prodigal son says to the older brother, who said to him, listen, I've been your servant. I've done everything you've ever asked. And what's the father's response? It's this exact language. Sir, son, you've always had everything that I have. It's all yours. Right.
And he started with, son, you are always with me. It's like, the father started with communion. He said, son, you're always with me. And then he says, and everything I have is yours. Yeah. As a result of being with God, with the Father. And so the same thing with us.
Same language here,
yes.
Right? He's transitioning One of the things that's missed sometimes that you and I have picked up on recently is the fact that the prodigal son, the series of parables that are told there in Luke 15, they don't occur in a vacuum. They occur when Jesus is confronted and said, hey, why are you eating with sinners? And the idea is that they don't eat with sinners because their view of God is such that God rejects those who don't align with law keeping. And so they cannot, as representatives of God, as older sons, hang out with those people either. So
Right.
Jesus tells this parable to show them who God actually is over and against who they think God is. And so
Right.
this story is intentioned by Jesus to showcase, to declare who God really truly is. And is that not our journey? John 5 tells us
Yeah.
to know God is eternal life.
Right. I think Jesus, might have been trolling them a little bit because they said, "Hey,
Yeah.
why does your master? Why do you receive sinners?" And Jesus, "Oh, you think you have a problem with me receiving sinners? Let me tell you what. I don't just receive sinners. I track them down."
That's right. That's so good. I run down the driveway with my rose lifted up and hug them. I
Yeah.
drag them in to eat. That's right.
Yes.
He's trolling. I love it.